Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host, your friend, your coach. Tonight, I have a special episode for one of my best friends online, the one and only Wendy Corner, the amazing Wendy Corner, anything speech related, anything, messaging related. And she's going to be here today because she has a very powerful message to share with us. But before that, Wendy, welcome back on the show, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and speaking to your community.
Pleasure's all mine. So tell us, what do we have cooking up for today? What's on the menu?
Well, I've got a bit of a confession to
Hold on, one second. Let me hold that back 1 second. For people who don't know you, tell us before we even dive into that. Give us a little bit of overview of who's Wendy, what do you do, and all the impact you're doing out there.
Sure. Okay. My background is in speech pathology. I've been working in and around communication for 30 plus years. Initially in a clinical role, so with people, with adults with voice problems and also people with intellectual and disability with or without autism, which is where the non-verbal stuff got really honed. So I bring now to the speaking profession all my clinical experience as well as extra stuff on top. We also offer a 10-minute once a month opportunity for speakers to get in front of an international audience so they can get feedback on their latest material, what works, what doesn't. And they also get the opportunity for 5 top tips from me. And for an upsell, we get a deeper dive on exactly what's going on in their presentation. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm now in Perth, Western Australia. You can hear from the accent, I'm not an Aussie, I'm actually a Brit. So I'm from the UK and been here for 8.5 years. That's me.
Beautiful. I can imagine that you're not missing the weather from the UK, right? Living in Australia.
No, not really, because I came from the north of Scotland, and so the temperatures up there were really different to here.
I can imagine.
But the housing was more cozy. Australian houses are designed to lose heat, and we're in winter now, so it gets chilly.
So when you moved to Australia, did you bring along with you your lovely Scottish accent, or you left that?
No, I did to start with. I did to start with, but folks couldn't understand me, so I had to shift my vowels back into. I grew up in England, and my schooling was in England, so I just had to shift my vowels back to something that people would go, "Oh, is that what you mean?"
How long did it take you to understand? Hey, I need to change that.
Oh no, very quickly, because I mean, having migrated from England to Scotland and picked that up, when you work with people with intellectual disability, if you don't sound like them, then you're immediately rejected.
Yes, indeed.
So, yeah.
Yes. So now tell us what's cooking there, and tell us what the exciting things that you're working on right now.
Okay. Well, I've got a confession to make.
Please.
I'm Wendy Corner, and I'm a recovering FOMO specialist. Have you ever, like me, been? I mean, my background is I am passionate about continuous and never-ending improvement. Okay, so constantly learning new things, signing up for courses, particularly video courses, self-paced video courses, and never quite finishing them. And then getting that feeling of, well, that didn't deliver what it promised. And there could be a little bit of an antsy feeling about the person behind it who said, promised the world and didn't deliver. Where actually, it's me. I didn't apply the knowledge. And we all know that transformation only happens with application of new information. So then it got me thinking. I heard a stat over the weekend that only 8% of self-paced video work is ever completed.
Why is that?
I don't know. I didn't get to the bottom of that. That was just a bold stat. And from that, I thought, oh, well, I'm not the only one on the plus side, but on the downside, it got me thinking, I know how I feel when I don't feel as though things are being delivered. What can we do about that as somebody who teaches work that I've got a self-paced video course in the offing, and I'm thinking, well, if only 8% are going to ever finish it and possibly feel as though they're shortchanged and a bit aggrieved and don't want to work with Wendy again because she's all mouth and no trousers, promises the world, doesn't deliver. What can I do about that? Let's have a done with you workshop. So on June the 2nd, this was coming up anyway, but now I feel particularly right about it. So for the 92% of self-development junkies like me who struggle to finish things off because they don't have somebody holding their hand, keeping them accountable, giving them the opportunity in real time to apply what they're learning, I thought, right, let's do this half-day workshop. One of the things that I mentioned earlier to you was the monthly cycle of Your Words Have Power, when speakers get the chance to share their valuable information with the international audience. And one of the things that's come out of that is the power of story. And Payman, you know this very well because your podcasts are all about sharing powerful stories that people have experienced. But sometimes in the telling, we kind of meander a bit and go off on a tangent and kind of go, where was I going with this? Because I can guarantee that if you get lost, your audience will as well. So what I'm doing is coming up with, and there are various different ways of structuring stories. Anybody ever been to a blockbuster movie like Star Wars, Harry Potter, all of those? They follow a format, a formula, usually the hero's story. But it's not so formulaic that you can go, oh, right, we're at this part, and now we're at this part, and now we're at this part, unless you know the hero's journey incredibly well. Pixar do their own version. And in fact, I've just told you my story in the Pixar storyboarded version. Once upon a time, then this happened, then that happened, then that happened, as a result that. Okay. But what I'm going to be teaching on the 2nd for you guys in the States and Canada is 2 others. There will be the dip and format. So anybody who is up on disc profiling, format's going to be particularly helpful. So the way we're going to do it is doors close this week on the 25th of May, midnight AWST, which for Eastern time is midday.
What day is the 25th? That's Wednesday?
Yes.
Today is the 22nd. Let me check.
Yes.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah. So Wednesday, midday for Eastern, 9 a.m. for Pacific. Okay.
Okay.
That then means that you have the opportunity to do the pre-work, which is getting a video together so that you know what you've got a benchmark, if you will. Then on the day, I teach the dip. You go away, do a story version following the dip, come back, you get real-time feedback. We do the training around the format. You go away, you do your video, you come back and you get real-time training. So it's a 4-hour commitment. So those of you on Eastern, it's 8 p.m. to midnight. And those of you on Pacific, it will be 5 till 9. Okay. So that's the way it works for the standard ticket. Now, if you go for the premium ticket, you then also get entry into another future cycle of Your Words Have Power. So you can really showcase what you've learned to really cement that in. That is usually an extra cost on top. So that all comes as the bundle.
Okay. Powerful. So before we go into further to that, so first of all, for who this is not a good fit?
This is not a good fit for people who are bright, shiny object. I can't I haven't got the time to do this. I haven't got the time to do this.
Not able to
Something else is coming.
focus.
Something else is coming.
Yes.
Something else is coming, which is where I'm coming from. Because those are the people who are the 92%.
Yes.
And haven't appreciated that if somebody helps you along the way and you are committed enough to do this, then this is why it's important. Because the thing is that if as a speaker, you can bring your audience with you to your call to action, you've got a purpose-driven payday. Now, your audience, I'm part of them, are very heart-centered, serving people. So that may not be the focus. However, by bringing your audience to the call to action, you are serving them. Because if they don't understand where you're leading them, how can you serve them? So that's my purpose behind doing this. So yes, if you're not aware that you need that extra help, you're not committed to spending 4 hours to get your story ready and in a way that your audience can understand. Because then when you do have a regular call to action that's followed, you are serving your audience. I'm sorry, I'm flipping this around as to who it is generally is for. You're serving your audience and you are likely to get more bookings if you're on a stage. And when you get more bookings, you can up your keynote fees.
Sure. And if someone cannot attend the 4 hour, is it something they can do on their own? Is it can watch the replay or whatever because they're not able to attend the time?
Yeah, I appreciate that the time may be an issue for some people. Now, we're going to be recording this, so it's going to be available as a follow your own thing. So it's kind of appreciating that some people will be able to do it, but it'll be available as a recorded self-paced thing on another occasion. So yeah, that we're kind of catching the 8% who will do it, as well as the 92% who will need a little bit of extra support.
So are you capping this at a number of people, or
Yes.
do you want to keep this a small group or medium-sized group or the entire world?
It's going to be capped at 10.
Okay.
So that we get the opportunity of giving people that will come back and tell us, how's it gone? Because if you have 50 people in the room, there's no way you're going to be able to do that.
Yes, indeed.
So yeah, jump in quick because the tickets are selling.
So we mentioned who is this not for. So would you say this is a perfect fit for? Who's going to be benefiting the most from this program?
This is for people who know that they have a story to tell. We know how powerful stories are. As I said earlier on, Payman, your podcast is all about sharing powerful stories. Now, your guests have had some amazing life experiences. It's wanting to appreciate which particular elements of my life story are going to be useful to this particular audience. And how do I structure it in a way that makes sense to them? Are we going in, and also that depends also on the time that you've got available. So if you've got a keynote, maybe you can go through the whole hero's journey. I work with the Pixar one quite quickly, particularly with younger audiences. The dip is very helpful when you've got a short period of time. I don't know, when you've got about 10 minutes. You can say, this is where I'm at now. It hasn't always been like that. This is where I've been. This is where I'm coming up from. And this is the wisdom I've learned on the way. And I can show you how to do this. That's the basis of the dip model. The format, if you've done any disc work, we do the major context first, and then we pull in the Ds, the Is, the S's, the C's in that order. And everybody gets what they need in the order that they need it. So you keep your audience with you on the edge of their seats, wanting to know what's coming next.
So what is next then?
Well, what is next is that we get this audience to follow what you're saying, get the structure sorted out, so that you then, as I said, have your purpose-driven paydays, and you are serving your people in a way that is far more what's the word I'm after?
Appealing
And also productive, because you're serving your people. If they're not getting what you're saying because you're going all over the place, then you're not serving them. And as a heart-centered
confusing
community,
them.
exactly.
Yes.
So this is why it's important to have that structure. The other thing it helps you with is remembering what you're going to say. If you're in a situation, I mean, one of the things I do is work with TEDx speakers. You are not allowed to have notes and very few slides at all. So you've got a 10 to 12 minute presentation to do without notes. So you need to know where you're going. And one of the things that a structure will help you to do is remember it. So that's another reason for having the structure.
So this program is, you said, 4 hours in length. And then how long would it take for someone that is registered for this program to actually build up, structure the story in a way that's going to be very straight, very telling, appealing, magnetic, so it can have a powerful impact?
In the 4 hours. That's the whole point. We're doing it
24
with
hours.
you.
Wow.
We're doing it with you. So you have the chance to
beautiful.
go away in the 4 hour workshop. You get a chance to go away. There will be the opportunity of saying, hang on, Wendy, what are you on about? And because it's going to be in a small group, we've got the chance to do little breakout areas, so that I'll be available in a breakout room, so that you can come in and ask me if there's anything that's particularly vexing you. And we can say, well, have you thought about doing it this way? Oh, yes. So this is the whole point of having the 4 hours. You are getting results immediately in real time, and you can see how it works.
Okay. And then they can use that across all of their messaging and communication on their business, whether it's in written, email, whatever, even it's video and audio and so on and so forth. Okay.
Definitely. As I said, there are various different formulas available. We're just going to cover 2, because if I give you any more than 2, it's going to be overload. So we may well, in a future down the road, do another couple of formats to have a go at, formulas to do.
Is this the first round you're doing this?
Yep, this is the first round we're doing. And then we'll see where we go from here.
Good. So tell us more about it. Tell us about anything that someone that might be interested would need to know to get them on the right side of the fence and to say yes to this. What, anything else they need to know?
If you know that, well, you appreciate that the story is so important.
Story is everything.
Story is everything. Because, I mean, those of us who've been around marketing know that facts tell and stories sell.
I was about to say it, but I left it for you because you have the way to deliver your message is very unique. So I didn't say it, but you said it.
Thank you. And the other thing with story is, I mean, the facts thing, talk to the, excuse me, talk to the left side of the brain. That's the analytical stuff. Stories get the right side of the brain. I mean, think about it for a minute. If you and the audience close your eyes for a second and just come with me. Long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Okay, come back. Where were you? In a movie theater? Watching the words.
I was in the galaxy with you.
Watching the words disappearing into the star-studded future. That's
I was imagining myself being
very
in the Milky
famous
Way
start of Star Wars, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That plus Once Upon a Time.
Oh yes.
Are the conduits that you get into that trance-like state. I'm open for something special. It opens up the right side of your brain, and you then get that connection. Left and right side of brain talk to each other. you deliver it well, and you get a heart-to-heart connection as well.
That is key.
That is where you get really good stories, being heart-to-heart connection. And if you think about it, Payman, we've got the brain and the heart. Where do they connect through? Your voice.
Oh, yes.
Your voice.
Absolutely.
So this is what, again, why it's really important to be able to message what you're saying in a way that head, heart, and your voice are involved. A little bit of a stat for you. In terms of delivering your message, I work on the fact that it's roughly 10% of your message is conveyed with the words, roughly 40% with how you use your voice, and 50% with the visuals, whether that be gestures, facial expression, body language, leaning in, coming out. And that you also need to learn from a Zoom perspective is different than when you're on stage.
Totally.
I had one gentleman who was in the 4th cycle who was having expansive hand gestures, and I'm going, I'm sure your hands were doing something important, but we couldn't actually see them. Remember,
especially if someone is only listening to it. Yes.
Well, exactly. Yes. Bring where your window is. I mean, the way we do Your Words Have Power cycles, they are for speakers to get practice at the visual as well as the verbal and the vocal. So yes, it's learning how to stage what you're saying as well. So that all comes part of it. But the way I do with the story is sort of S.T.O.R.Y. The S for structure, the T for actually telling your story, how we get the verbals, the vocals, and the visuals together. The O is the organizing. So that's slightly different from the structure. The organizing is which bits of your story are you going to pull out? Because you're not going to tell all of your story every time. You don't have time for that. The R is reaching your audience. Excuse me. The R is reaching your audience, whether that is physically, which stages are you going to get yourself on, which podcasts, where is the most useful place to be, and also looking at the emotionally rich language, how you're going to reach emotionally and the heart-to-heart connection. And the Y is your turn to shine. Come on, let's do it. And that's one of the reasons that we're kind of combining the S and the Y on the second for you.
Love that. Love that. Now, what would you say is the immediate impact of someone not having the story properly structured in business versus someone that has it in point and very structured?
I talk about a Sue and a Gemma. Sue is the one who knows, they both know how powerful their stories are. Sue also understands the structure of things. And as a result, as I said, she's getting lots and lots of feedback. She's getting lots and lots of rebookings. And because she's getting lots of rebookings, when she's applying for her TedX, the word on the street amongst the event managers is, oh yeah, she's worth it. Because when you apply for TedX, they will do a little bit of research on you as well.
Absolutely.
It's not a given that just because you've applied, yes, you're in. For instance, Sydney have 2,000 applications. So you've got to really stand out. Gemma doesn't appreciate the need for structure, meanders around, and her audience have been known to pick up their phone and scroll. Now, that can be soul destroying if you're upfront. I've even known some speakers, they've had the audience walk out. So that's really what you don't want to do. You want to engage your audience. You want to keep them following what you're saying to a successful call to action. Because that's where you start whenever you're doing a story. You start with the end in mind. Because all of what you're saying is leading to the call to action. So just giving you a few pointers already, regardless of whether you come on the workshop or not, always start with the end in mind.
Beautiful. Indeed, that's very important because you want to know, just like you said, start with the end in mind. You want to know exactly what is the number one pain point you want to solve, and for a very specific person. If you don't have that clear, then your message will be all over the place. So that goes hand in hand with that. Just like
Mhm.
how powerful it is to have a very clear, avatar of your ideal client and the
Yes,
exact, specific, quantifiable, measurable end result that you will accomplish for your audience, for your target. Your story has to be on point as well, and they go hand in hand as well. So
definitely,
that's powerful.
definitely.
So when someone goes through your program and does that, what kind of support will they have available, not only during but after the program?
Well, as I said, if you go with the premium ticket, you can come in on the Your Words Have Power, and you get the opportunity for continuing work with me. I do have a program which has 3 levels. I have a professional program for those who know that they want to part their legacy message with the world. However, they're not really very clear on the speaking stuff, and they don't know how to get their message together. And so we do a lot of that with that. That takes us to getting ready to get on a stage. Now, I then have what I call the professional stream. And you can go from the pre to the pro as soon as you're ready. The professional stream is getting you looking at how do you market what you're saying? Where are the stages? Where are the
Yes.
podcasts and on all of that stuff? And particularly, I mean, you work with authors as well. You are an author yourself. If you don't you don't get your message out there verbally, vocally, telling the world, then your book stays as a rather expensive calling card.
Yes, indeed.
So how do you get, and that's one of the things that often the Your Words Have Power attract authors who are about to drop books.
Mhm.
I mean, this last one we had, that was her main aim, was to share her story. And actually she ran out of time. So
Oh,
she
wow.
didn't get to the full the full call to action. So one of the things I'm feeding back to her is be aware of your time, dear. And she needs some work on her structure. Absolutely. And that's the feedback she's getting later on today. However, we did it in such a way that, and I keep a very tight ship on that one. At 10 minutes, I mute you, because when you're on a platform with other speakers, if you go over time, one, you're going to piss off the event manager, and two, you're going to be disrespecting the other speakers. And you then get a bit of a reputation along your speaker circuit. They don't want to have you back. But we
I
did it in
see.
such a way that when we cut her off, we went, "Oh, that was nicely done." And she looked at me and went, "What do you mean?" I said, "You've given us so much of a taster. We now want to go out and buy your book, don't we?" So we pulled that one round for her so that she didn't lose face on the event. And she
Beautiful.
has had a lot of
Yes.
interest as a result.
Yes, indeed. Makes sense. Wow. Now, if someone is interested in finding out more, getting in touch with you, what's the best way to do so?
Oh, that's a point. I haven't even given you the URL for the
The
event.
name of the program, or tell us about the name of the program and any link that people can go and find out more
Yes,
about.
of course. Yes, of course. The what we're looking at is the. Sorry, forgive me, guys. I've been. This is early in the morning for me, and I wasn't 100%.
No worries. It's fine. Don't worry.
Okay, so the Your Words Have Power happens every month. For you, it is the second Sunday of the month.
Okay.
And that comes up, as I said, every month. But what I'm sharing with you now is the URL for the workshop.
Send it to me
I will
on
do.
Messenger, and I'll share it in the show notes.
Sure. But that in the chat is where we have the URL for the specific workshop that we're doing. So that's exciting. I will send you the URL for the Your Words Have Power. And as I said, that's a monthly thing. And payment, I'm gagging for you to be on there.
Yes, I wanted to, but right now I have so much on my plate,
So
but I
busy, I
will.
get that, which is wonderful. And if you want to have
Yes,
the opportunity for sharing more of your wonderfulness, we would love it.
absolutely. Everything happens for a reason at the right time.
Oh,
Everything in
indeed.
due time.
Indeed.
So,
Absolutely.
and I'm
Absolutely.
looking forward to that time. Absolutely. Wow.
Okay. Anything else
Who's-
from your audience?
You tell me, is there anything else that people need to know to that's going to help them in making the decision and finding out more?
Well, if you want to look me up, I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. You can come and join the Courageous Influential Speakers Facebook page. Now, that is one that I require you to, if you come and join us, you are going to be expected to put up an introductory video saying who you are and what you want to get out of it, because it
Okay.
is an active group for speakers.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's the URL for the Facebook page. Group, sorry, I get muddled up between groups and page. That's a group. So
Okay.
come and join us. Come and join us. And as I said, you then get tips and tricks on public speaking anyway. And in terms
Okay.
of, you've probably heard the stat that public speaking is the single most feared thing, even more
Yes.
than death. So, I mean, Seinfeld famously quipped, people would rather be in the box than give the eulogy. The reason for that is because it hits a very deep-seated fear of rejection.
Mm.
Because from an evolutionary perspective, if you were rejected by your tribe, that was it. You were dead, literally, because they'd kick you out. So if you have an underlying fear of speaking in public, that's why.
Mhm.
It's a very deep-seated fear, and that's one of the things that we work on when you work with me as well. We work on communication on 3 levels: the external, how you deliver your message; the internal, what are you saying to yourself? Because that is vitally important. If that doesn't match this, then these will give you away. Very subtly, the
Beautiful.
non-verbals will give you away. And then the third level I
Mhm.
work on is what I call the internal communication system. It's where the fascial system inside your body holds memories that are unprocessed. And if that's not processed and released, your fascial
Mhm.
system will restrict around your voice, and you will hear it in somebody's voice. So that's
Beautiful.
just a little bit of extra, but right now we're focusing on structuring the story.
Sounds good. Powerful. Thank you for sharing all of that. As always, absolute pleasure talking to you and hearing what are the beautiful impact you're having in the world. And this is an absolutely amazing no-brainer event that I highly recommend anyone that wants to get first of all structure the message that then they can deliver it in the most effective way possible. Then Wendy is your expert for that. Plus, if you want to take that to the next level and learn how to become a public speaker, then of course she's your expert as well, because that's what she does. So thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Always pleasure. Have a wonderful day, and
Thank you.
we're definitely going to be talking soon again. Take care.
Yes.
Bye bye.
See ya. Bye bye.
See you.